Ya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 4. It's called the Status Quo, Chapter 19. King Prithus 100 horse sacrifices.
Next chapter.
What's already the next one? Chapter 20. Next chapter means next canto. Next book. 4-2. Start. Okay. So, our guests, are you familiar with this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, with this book? No. You're familiar? You are. What brings you here? Was bringt dich hierher?
Today I will talk about a subject about diversity.
Oh, you are the referent for this topic. Oh, I see. I understand. And you are?
It's my third time. I'm the friend from Emilio. I was here before.
You were here already. His face looks familiar. Okay, good. So, we're just waiting for the book. Okay, so we are in the middle of the description of Prithu's sacrifice. And he was now pacified by Brahma. Yeah, we heard yesterday. And we don't have a book. Running up, run down. Waiting for the book. Yeah, in general, it's very important that we hear from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Bhagavatam is called Grantha Raj. Grantha Raj means the king of scriptures. Called Grantha Raj, the king of scriptures. Yes? Oh, only computer? Wir haben kein Buch, oder?
Ich hab's da drüben nicht gefunden.
Okay, then I could have taken it also from my phone. Huh? Hätte ich, also... Huh? Da bin ich jetzt schneller, Gripasin, du.
Okay.
Ja, hab schon. Also Kapitel 21, die Instructions by Prithu Maharaj. Okay. Good, okay. So. But then the verse is also not right, or what? Oh no, chapter 20, sorry. Lord Vishnu's appearance in the sacrificial arena. Now we got it. Maitreya Uvacha. Which chapter is it now? What is this verse? Huh? Okay, I have 4:21. Maitreya Uvacha, Bhagavan Api. And here.
Ja, der zweite Vers steht jetzt an der Tafel, weil er gleich die Übersetzung hat.
Okay, good. All right.
Das habe ich mir so sagen lassen.
Ja, ist okay. So, also, ich lese mal den ersten. Maitreya Uvacha, Bhagavan Api Vaikuntha Sakam Magavata Vibhu Yagya Patistushto Yagya Bhuk Tam Abhashata. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, being very much satisfied by the performance of 99 horse sacrifices, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, appeared on the scene. Accompanying him was King Indra. Lord Vishnu then began to speak. So now the verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Eshate Karshit Pangam Hayameda Shatasyaha Kshamapayata Atmanam Amushya Kshantum Arhasi. Okay, please. Shati Karshit Mangam. Madhachis. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Esha te karshit bangam ayamida shatasyaha Kshamapayata atmanam Amushyakshantum arhasi. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, spoke. Esha, this Lord Indra, te, your, akarshit, performed, bhangam, disturbance, haya, horse, medha, sacrifice, shatasya, of the 100th, ha, indeed, Kshamapayataha, who is asking pardon, Atmanam, unto yourself, Amushya, him, Kshantum, to forgive, Arhasi, you ought. Translation. Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said, My dear King Prithu, Indra, the King of Heaven, has disturbed your execution of 100 sacrifices. Now he has come with me to be forgiven by you. Therefore, excuse him. Purport. In this verse, the word Atmanam is very significant. It is a custom among yogis and jnanis to address one another, or even an ordinary man, as one's self, for a transcendentalist never accepts a living being to be their body. Since the individual self is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the self and the super-self are qualitatively non-different. As the next verse will explain, the body is only a superficial covering, and consequently an advanced transcendentalist will not make a distinction between one self and another. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangung Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamahang Bande Shri Gurundina Taranam Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swavanandikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's not so comfortable. Beautiful, but not so comfortable. Often, huh? Beauty doesn't go so well with comfort. Okay, Hare Krishna. So we heard here about an important philosophical point about the relationship between material and spiritual reality. And here the point was stressed more on the non-differentiation between material situations or between people. And here the word Atmanam was used. Atma, of course, has many meanings, but in one sense it meant here the soul. And that here was the point was made that a spiritual personality, he does not see the external situation or the material circumstances. He actually sees the soul. He has like a spiritual perception and understands that every living entity is spiritual, is a soul, is in relationship to a higher reality. And on that and on that there is no differentiation, right? There's no differentiation. Whereas in the material world, there are so many differences. There are so many differences. And because of that, everyone acts in a different way to the others. Everything's relative, so to say. And with a spiritual conception, he sees everything is absolute, everything is connected, everything is a whole, right? Everything is a whole. But at the same time, it's not that everything is without any differentiation either. Because on the spiritual platform, there is a variety too. But it's a spiritual variety. So in one sense, so what is it now? Is it a oneness or is it a different? But this is the tricky thing of reality, that it is both. Right? It is both. It is a oneness, but at the same time there is also differentiation and there is individuality. But as Krishna says also in Bhagavad Gita, that a wise person understands, now Pandita Samadarshinaha, he has a vision of equality. Samadarshinaha means he sees everyone equal. It's very interesting, right? But from a spiritual point of view, not from a material point of view. From a spiritual point of view, everyone is equal because he sees the soul and not the body. Yeah? So he goes even so far to not see a difference between animals and humans. He says not even animals and humans. He says, oh, there's also a spiritual soul. But at the same time, doesn't mean that we behave equally to everyone. Because you behave differently with an animal than with your friend. Yeah, it's obviously, right? So we have to behave differently, we have to take the material situation into account. But at the same time, it should not be, affecting our spiritual qualities and vision. And this is the art, to see the differences, but behave in a spiritual way. Right? See the material differentiation, but behave in a spiritual way. Yeah. And we have to learn that. We have to learn that in all circumstances. Not be affected by the material situation. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, may it be good or may it be bad, we shouldn't be affected. And it's very difficult. But this is the test of our consciousness. Because normally we are very affected by adverse situations. We get upset, or we get worried, or we are very much attached and striving for it and getting greedy, and we are not with ourselves. Right? But we should be with ourselves and act out of our own spiritual strength. But for that we have to at first understand ourselves. Yeah, through spiritual life, through meditation, you understand, who I'm actually a spiritual being. I have different interests. This material world is actually not a place of my interest. All the things going on in this world, coming and going, is so superficial and it's so temporary. Why should I entangle myself with this temporary situation? It comes and goes. And it doesn't give satisfaction either. A person who experienced happiness in his spiritual life, in his meditation, in his relationship with Krishna, he stands above all the things. Nothing triggers him. Nothing is of interest because he sees through the illusion. But all the people are completely engaged with this illusion, running after all these temporary things all the time, like crazy. And worried and crying and being not happy. Yeah. But a spiritual person, a Krishna conscious person, is completely satisfied. Satisfied with nothing. Satisfied with nothing. Inner satisfaction. Right? That's the true wealth. Right? The true wealth. I read today in the morning the income of Prince Charles. You know how much Prince Charles earns a year? You can guess. Some guesses. How much does Prince Charles earn in a year? Oh, yeah. 1 billion. Actually, it's not so rich, but still, 150 million a year. Like personal income. Not like what he owns and all, just personal income, after taxes and everything. So he's not so rich as you thought. Just 10 million a month. Yeah. But still, 10 million a month. Not so bad. Yeah. But, well, maybe it's not doesn't mean that he has no spiritual realization. There's also an important point. Yeah? This we don't know. Maybe he's very spiritually enlightened and very Krishna conscious, even God conscious. So riches, it doesn't mean when you're wealthy that you are complete in Maya. Doesn't mean. Can be, but must not. Yeah. But a devotee does not strive for that. If it comes naturally, it's like kind of your karma. Okay, why not? But it's not that we should make plans. How can I become the richest man in the world? Actually, devotee is not interested in that. Devotee is interested in how can I become spiritually wealthy, have all good qualities, how can I be patient, humble, wise, have inner satisfaction, overcome my inner problems and demons, inner demons, all the bad qualities. How can I really be the best person? And how can I be very happy? How can I be Krishna conscious? How can I finally be Krishna conscious? How can I finally be a friend of Krishna? How can I have a spiritual vision of Krishna? How can I see Krishna? That is of interest. So what is and the spiritual process of the Vedic scriptures is very practical. Yeah, it's not some abstract thing. It's very practical. It's called sadhana. You can practice to become God conscious. It's not so difficult. You just have to know how to do it. And we know it. When we do it properly, it works. And when we are not so eager, then it doesn't work so well. It's a technique. Yeah. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, always think of me. This is actually the technique. Always think of me. Always think of Krishna. And how can we think of Krishna? In 4 ways. We say in 4 ways. There are many ways, but like 4 are explained as very important. So first is hearing Krishna's name, obviously. But it's not really enough, because we need to know whose name we are chanting. Of course, the holy name is very powerful and perfect, and you can say, I just chant Hare Krishna, it's fine, but a devotee wants to know whose name is he chanting. For that, we should hear or get informed about Krishna's form. It's the second point. First name, second form. How does he look? Because he's a person. How does he look? So a devotee meditates and gets informed about the form of Krishna. And he will be very much amazed. He will be very much amazed how God looks. What's his form? It's a very beautiful form. Shyama Sundara, it said. Shyama Sundara. Beautiful, the dark beautiful, how to say, the dark beauty. Shyama Sundara. Gora Sundara, the golden beauty. It's very, very beautiful. So a devotee hears about the beautiful form of Krishna. And then he should hear about his qualities. What his qualities and his features. And then about his pastimes. Lila. And then the whole circle, it's not like, okay, this is like a progression. Actually, it's a circle. Because then you chant a name with a complete different mindset. Because you know way more, whose name am I chanting? And you really start to meditate more about Krishna. And then the whole circle starts again. You hear more interested and more absorbed about his form. So first the form. So you meditate, you understand, how does Krishna look like? It's a beautiful form. His color is of the dark cloud. right? Huh? Yeah, rain cloud, monsoon cloud. And the color of his dress is that of a lightning in this cloud. Right? When you have a dark cloud, you have lightning, flashes. Yeah. And his body, how many parts were it? I think 5, or what was it, 7, are compared to a lotus flower. Because lotus is the symbol of beauty. The lotus is the symbol of beauty. And actually, nothing can compare with Krishna. Because Krishna is way beyond any beauty. He's more beautiful than anything in the material world. But it's that the lotus is the most beautiful. If you want to compare Krishna, you have to take the best. But still, the comparison wouldn't be perfect. But still, it's a lotus. Lotus feet, lotus navel, lotus hands, lotus eyes. What else? Lotus garland. And a lotus garland. Yeah. But so beautiful. Perfect. Perfect form. Perfect form. Yeah. Bodily beauty is very attractive. Not everyone, but some people are very attractive. And they're so attractive that everyone wants to look at them. Everyone wants to make a picture of them. They're like, wow, such a beautiful person. Right? If you have the good luck and you're just beautiful, you can make lots of money. Don't have to be intelligent, don't have to be able to speak, don't have to be able to do anything, just beautiful. I'm just beautiful, And people will give you lots of money, just because you're beautiful. More or less, sometimes. Yeah, but Krishna is way more beautiful than that. Everyone would be so attracted to Krishna if you would see him. So beautiful. Everything is perfect. There's no... And he's never getting old either. It's called Nava Yovanam. Because people who are beautiful, they want to keep their beauty. But it doesn't work. Doesn't work. Oh no, I get a wrinkle. And here and there. Oh no, it's so terrible. It's like the worst thing that could happen to them. Getting old. And they try everything to not get old. Sometimes with a contrary effect. Sometimes trying to not become old, speeds up the process. Because they make so many operations that they mess themselves completely up. Sometimes. But Krishna is so beautiful, unlimited beautiful, yeah, very attractive. And he has always a peacock feather in his hair. He's playing a flute. Krishna is the perfect flute player. Krishna is very music. Yeah, music itself, right, is divine actually. Music is divine. Sometimes you hear some music and think, wow, this is not from this world. Music is so powerful, attractive. Yeah, it comes from Krishna. Krishna makes music all the time in the spiritual world. Plays on his flute. And when he plays on his flute, it's very, very convincing and absorbing. And actually it's said even that the stones are melting when Krishna plays on his flute. And melting away in ecstasy. And the Yamuna is stopping to flow. And the cows are also getting like pillars, or how to say, they are like also shocked, how to say. And their ears go up, and they just hear, and they just tears run out of their eyes. Even the cows, when they hear the divine sound, the merciful sound of Krishna's flute play. And the gopis get completely bewildered. Where's Krishna? Where's Krishna? And whatever they do, they stop it. Even if they have their children in their arm, which is the most attractive thing for a mother. A mother loves the child so much, it's this purpose of life. Mother is in child samadhi. Always think about the child. When she thinks about the child, she's so happy. But when the gopis hear Krishna's flute song, they put away the child and they run to Krishna. Oh, bad mother, huh? But they are celebrated for that. They overcome any affection of the material world, even that. Right? Yeah. So Krishna's flute play is so beautiful. And then he goes into the forest, and when the gopis dance with Krishna, the music doesn't stop, actually it starts. They play also instruments. They play different instruments, they sing, and then they dance together. Like a perfect artistic presentation. At my marriage, my wife wanted that we dance, how do you say it in English? Ein Walzer? Walt? How do you say this in English? How's it called in English? This dancing style of from Austria. A waltz, huh? Isn't it called waltz? Waltz. They just called waltz also. Okay. Walzer. Yeah. My wife wanted that. And we did that. So I had to research a bit, how does this work? And now there's no problem. You can find out anything, how anything works on YouTube. Some tutorial, easy to find. So, but then when I saw these people, how good they can dance, it was amazing actually. Amazing. Dancing is actually amazing. And there are so many dancing styles also. And the coordination and the rhythm and the music to it. And it's a, wow, powerful art form. So it reminded me on Krishna. How must it look when Krishna dances with the gopis? Because they have like these dancing contests and everyone looks at it and says, well, this was a perfect dance presentation. He did so well and it was beautiful. And no. But when Krishna dances with the gopis, must be very, very attractive. Beautiful music in a beautiful setting in the Vrindavan forest with all these beautiful trees and birds and the full moon and the breeze of the wind which carries the aroma of all the beautiful flowers. It smells good. Most beautiful gopis, most beautiful Srimati Radharani, most beautiful with Krishna. They're like, it's a wonderful vision, such a beautiful vision. So Krishna's form is so attractive. And the more, when a devotee meditates on Krishna's form, he gets more and more attracted. Actually, the form of Krishna should be imprinted in the heart of the devotee. So it should be imprinted in the heart of the devotee. The form of Krishna should reside on the lotus throne in the heart of a devotee. And actually, this is the sign of our devotion advancement. How much we are able to have Krishna in the center of our heart, in the core of our heart. It's interesting that Vedic scripture makes this comparison that of the heart as the seat, the center of existence, so to say. It's the heart. What is in your heart? Their desires are there, and attachments, and all kinds of memory and all that. It's said in the heart. It's also interesting that said Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Okay, this is like the mirror of the mind actually, but that the comparison made that the Bhagavatam destroys all the impurities from the heart. Right? So we have to see what is in our heart. What is really our heart's interest. Because the body, senses, is very external. The mind, a bit more internal, but still it's not the self. But said the self resides in the heart. And this is, it's meant, what do you really want? Who are you really? What is your true nature? Real authenticity is, it's in that sense, in the heart. So we have to look in the heart. Who am I? To see who we are. Because sometimes externally we pretend to be this or that. But inside, very much inside, deep inside, we are someone else. And in the end, it should be the same. Everything should be the same. Actually, that what we really are should be reflected also in our external appearance, in our behavior, in our social dealings, all that. There should not be a duplicity. Such a person not duplicitous. Yeah. So a pure devotee has Krishna in the heart. I heard yesterday in a lecture that there was one devotee, and actually the story is differently told, and it's quite an amazing story, and we can wonder about its truth actually, but there was a devotee who was always chanting Hare Krishna. He was always chanting. He was known as a great sadhu, a great sage. He was always chanting Hare Krishna, had no material attachments anymore. He was completely renounced, was just wandering around and chanting Hare Krishna, going to holy places, seeing devotees and chanting. And when he was leaving his body, they tried to see, is he still alive? And they had this stethoscope to hear the heart. And the doctor heard the heart. and he just heard Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Like all fibers of his body were like imbued with the chanting of the holy name. Like everything vibrated the holy name, even the heart. Yeah. So maybe, yeah, who knows? But he was so much absorbed in the chanting of the holy name. That was all he was interested in. And such devotees who gave up all other interests because they are completely focused on Krishna, and they are always in this ocean of nectar. It's called the ocean of the holy name. The nectar ocean of the holy name. They are always incredibly happy. And their happiness is so strong, and they see also the source of the happiness, which is their relationship with Krishna, that nothing else is of interest. This is why they can be renounced. Right? A true vairagi is not someone who forces it. In the beginning we have to force different renunciation because it's still tapasya. Because tapasya means you don't do that what you like, more or less. For the beginner, it's tapasya means you don't do that what you like, what your mind and senses like. The mind and senses, they always want some comfort. And tapasya means no comfort. Like Pandava Nirjala Ekadashi. Of course, you want to drink, you want to eat, but you say no. And it's difficult. Renunciation, tapasya. But advanced devotee does not experience that anymore. For him, because it's also tapasya to chant Hare Krishna. It's also tapasya. You want to chant something else, especially when you're together with your friend. Maybe you know that sometimes you're on a car ride with someone and you might have still some rounds. Not ideal, but sometimes. Very bad combination. You will not chant your rounds. Because you always talk with your friend when you're so close. Sometimes you have to say, okay, you go here, I go there. Far away, because if we're together, let's chant together. Yeah, we go on a chapa walk, we just walk around. Sometimes devotees do that. Maybe you can do it. Maybe it works for you. But sometimes chapa walk means just Hare Krishna, and how are you doing? Yeah, this and that. Hare Krishna, and this and that. Very difficult to stay focused. And sometimes you say, okay, we don't say anything else now, we just chant Hare Krishna. Okay, yes, we do that, it's better. Okay, really? Okay, really. You say nothing, I don't say anything, we just chant Hare Krishna. Yeah. So these devotees are very absorbed in Krishna. And for them it's no... And what I wanted to say, the devotional service is vairagya also. Because it's tapasya, because the sense and mind don't want to serve Krishna. But the more we experience the pleasure of spiritual life, the more natural it becomes, and then you are renounced. Then Ekadashi is actually a beautiful day for you. Beautiful excuse for you to everyone and everything to chant Hare Krishna. So that is wonderful, a day where I just chant Hare Krishna, just chant the whole day. Wonderful, it's great, this is a luxury, it's holiday, it's a holy day. It's a real holiday, right? This is what holidays were meant to be in the past. Everyone, nowadays holiday means, oh yeah, no work. But traditionally it meant, the king said, no one has to work, because it's a holy day, everyone goes to church. It's more important that we all go to church and celebrate this occasion, that occasion, and we go to church. This is our obligation to God. That was the holy day. No work because God worship. Nowadays, this is not there anymore. Now holiday means just sleep in, no work, do whatever I like. Yeah. So the form of the Lord, and then the qualities of Krishna, which are most amazing. He has so many wonderful qualities. And in the end, pastime. And when we hear the pastimes, there are so many pastimes, beautiful pastimes of Krishna. In Vrindavan, in Mathura, in Dwarka, in all his incarnations, different forms. So many pastimes. And a devotee should get really interested. It's very interested in Krishna. And then when you chant Hare Krishna, it makes way more sense. In the beginning, chanting Hare Krishna of course it always makes sense, but you don't know what is it actually. Sometimes someone gets the mantra, and yeah, it's a mantra, it's good for you, and mantra means delivers the mind, has some good effect, and all, yeah, okay, Hare Krishna, but he does not really know who is Krishna. Right? And the devotee's chanting is in that sense very much different, because he knows who is Krishna, to whom am I talking, whose name am I chanting, whom do I want to reach, where do I want to go, what is the purpose of all that. Krishna is wonderful. Actually, the purpose is to love Krishna, to develop love for Krishna. Yeah. And that becomes very, very wonderful, because Krishna is so wonderful. It's very exciting. It's a real adventure. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I'm the adventure. So you take part in Krishna's adventure. So this is why Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is so important, because it culminates in Krishna's Leela, in Krishna's pastimes. And Prabhupada gave us right from the beginning the Krishna book to immediately go to that part. Also interesting. You saw how important that is. But to really appreciate it, it needs so much philosophy. It needs so much education. But it should culminate in that. We should not stay forever on the platform. Dehinos minyata dehe komar. This is not our bhajan. Really not. That is very important to know for ourselves, for communication, for preaching, for sure. Prabhupada said we should know Bhagavad Gita as our unsere Westentasche, as our pocket. Right? As a lawyer knows his law books, devotee knows Bhagavad Gita, for sure. But it should come in the end to that platform where we are personally interested in Krishna, in his pastimes, in Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani, the gopis and the gopas. And a devotee should really, as Rupa Goswami says there are 5 points which are most important. And one of them is Mathura Vas. And Mathura Vas means to live in Mathura or live in Vrindavan. This is like most important. From all the rules and regulations, this is most important. The other is, of course, chanting the holy name, worshiping the deity, reading Bhagavatam, what else? Chanting the holy name. Right? This is most essential. And among that, Mathura Vas. And then he says, and this is now good for us or bad, whatever, but because now we'll think, if I want to be a proper devotee, I have to go to Vrindavan. But he says, if you cannot live physically in Vrindavan, you live mentally in Vrindavan. So a devotee should live in Vrindavan. This is his real home. It's like a traveler. A traveler always thinks about his home. Okay, he has some business to do here and there. Yeah, the businessman might go here and there, do this and that. But then he always thinks about his wife and his child and his house and, I'm happy when I come back home. This is where he lives, even mentally. And he's happy to go back home. He doesn't want to stay forever on his journey or in this country or this hotel or whatever. He wants to be at home. There's, where he's happy. So we should be at home in Vrindavan. And in order to help that, you should make your surroundings into Vrindavan, where you live, your room, your house, your flat. Many pictures of Krishna, nice altar. Actually, it's for Krishna. We should understand that the residence in this world is just temporary. This is not our home. We just have a couple of years. And then we have to go anyway. 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and that's about it. Then you have to leave. Yeah. As Yudhishthira Maharaj said, all the time people are dying. You read in the newspaper, you hear about it. A friend of you died, your mother died, he died, and you think, I will never die. So this is the most astonishing thing in the whole world. Nobody thinks about, I have also to die. What will happen then? Okay, nothing will happen. I'm just an atheist. There is no life after death. It's just over. It's just black. It's just very, very, very black. Bleak and black. Just black. But I don't even recognize that it's black because I'm not there anymore. So it's not even black. He he doesn't even have blackness. Nothing. Because the body and the consciousness, it's just waning, it's just going out like a candle. No life anymore. Yeah. But so many people, or let's say or so many religions and philosophies say, no, there's a life after death. And actually there are people who say that there's a life after death because they had like near-death experience, or there are people who remember their past lives, and there are so many hints towards, no, there is actually, it's not just a belief that there's a life beyond or separate of the body. So many people left their body and came back. And then they say, they just imagined it. Just imagination. They had this was just they had not enough oxygen in the brain, and then the brain somehow, imagined it. But he says, no, I had this operation. I was lying there and was out of my body. Body was lying there, and I saw the doctor and the nurse and what they were doing. You just imagined it. And he says, but how? I knew exactly what they do. I saw which adjustments they made to the machines, this and that. And when you tell the doctor, he says, yeah, actually it's true. I did all that. How can he know that? How can he know that? He was in coma or something. He was unconscious. How can he know that? Hundreds of examples of like this. He just, I don't know, something. Or children who remember their past life, and then they research, okay, maybe who was in last life, they find the last life, they find the person, this child knows everything about his past life, maybe just accident, I don't know. Einfach nur Zufall. I don't know. But there were big professors who studied that, the phenomenon. And they all said, we cannot say for sure, but the best explanation to all this phenomenon is that there is a past life. There is something more. There are big professors, scientists who say, it's the best explanation. And this is what the Bhagavad Gita says in thousands of years. You are not a body, you are a soul. And when this body does not work anymore, you leave your body. And there's a life after that. And depending on how you lived, your next life will be manifested. And when you live a complete spiritual life with a consciousness in Krishna and in Vrindavan, you go into the spiritual world. Yanti deva vrata devam, betrin yanti pitri vrataha, putani yanti putecha, yanti madhyachino bimam. Whatever you worship, whatever you engage in, whatever you meditate on, this you will reach in next life. When you worship the devas, you go to the devas. You worship the forefathers, you go to the forefathers. You worship the demons and ghosts, you go to the ghosts. And Krishna says, when you worship me, you come to me. Janma dharma, what is it? Janma karma cha me divyam. Evang yo veti tattvata. Tyaktva dehang punachama. Naiti mameti sojana. When you understand perfectly my appearance, my activities, in tattva, in truth, in reality, and then you leave your body, you will come to me and you never have to come back to the material world. And it's a very wonderful process. It's not difficult. Right? It's a wonderful process to worship Krishna. So these are the 4 points. It's very important that we practice that. The name, the form, the qualities, and the pastimes. And then the circle repeats. So you have to get informed about his name, his form, qualities, pastimes. Meditate on that. Think about it. All the pictures, the deity, and all that, this is the form. To hear about his qualities, they are listed in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So many amazing qualities. And his nature and the pastimes are so elaborate. And this should be done on a daily basis. As you chant every day Hare Krishna, every day you have to also practice that. Right? Chanting we do, but the others we don't. It's very important. So this is my meditation for now, my inspiration. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions? Any? Yeah, Subal.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I have one question about duplicity. you mentioned that what's inside should be reflected also in the external appearance and behavior. How is it in different situations with different people? Because normally, as you also explained, we act different with different people. But should it always be like that, that what we have in the heart, what we really stand for, should be expressed?
Yeah, no, not of course everything. You have some private interest. It's not that we are like an open book, you know. Not we should be not open book, but we should be honest. We shouldn't be duplicitous in that sense. We shouldn't be completely contrary. We shouldn't have something in heart and act in a completely different way in that sense. Maybe to also, how to say, manipulate people or whatever, or to make a show of, to present yourself in a way what you're not. But that doesn't mean that we are not open like a book and tell everyone or behave with everyone in a very, very open way. No, but that's what I meant. Yeah. Of course, we should be intelligent how to act according to this principle. But what I meant also is that we should, these are like different layers of truth, so to say, right? Doesn't mean that we should show all our inner experience or beliefs, but we should not present ourselves in a contrary way, so to say. No? So kind of different layers of truth. No? All that what we represent, we stand for, how we act, how we speak, is true, but there are still deeper truth to ourselves. And according to the relationship we have with people, we can be open about that, so to say. Yeah. But the interesting example is that in the end, a devotee, like a very pure devotee, he has like nothing else anymore than his spiritual interest and appearance, right? There's nothing else but that anymore. He does not, we always have self-interest when we are in contact with people. Just have, there's a self-interest. But a pure devotee doesn't have a self-interest anymore. He doesn't need anything from anyone. And this is our problem. We always need something from someone and use the people. Even it might not be in a bad way, it's just normal, so to say. People don't take it so serious either because it's kind of normal, except if it's extreme in one sense. But a pure devotee has like no interest. Only your best interest. The only interest he has is your best interest. So he acts in this way, but he has no personal interest. He doesn't need you for anything. Most of the time, people need each other because for emotional, social reasons. Right? Oh, I need you for my well-being. Right? It's so addictive, actually. So we need the self-sufficiency to become detached. And it works. And these people are very powerful. Such people are super powerful because everyone sees, wow, they are really self-sufficient. They are so satisfied within themselves and selfless also. And honored is very honorable. Than a person who is always trying to get and is very needy, right? Such a needy and greedy person. Okay, Ramananda?
Sometimes when somebody is open and try to be living, say, authentical, it can be very dangerous sometimes in social customs, as we see also pure devotees. We don't understand, for example, one sees Prabhuji who smoked ganja and threw his deity in the water because he got some donation of fish or what, like we cannot, it's a very defined relationship what not only always can understand, but still it's the true identity. On the other hand, we tend to always play up something what we are not because in front of different people, and sometimes we have to. So meaning, we like basically, to surround ourselves with people who give us some sort of respect, some worship. You know what I mean?
Mm. It's more or less the same what Subar asked. Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
follow-up question.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, it needs also proper association. Of course, if there is a situation where you're almost forced to be that duplicious almost, that is also not good. No? So if there is a good situation, good sangha, then it's easy to be authentic and open and yeah. That's
But Rupa Vilas gives also this hint that you should
Who?
reveal Rupa Goswami gives also this hint that you should reveal yourself
in confidence, but it's called confidence.
to like-minded people.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. You have different layers of truth. We should be always truthful. That doesn't mean we show all the truth to everyone. We have to be intelligent to see which layer of truth I'm opening up to this person, depending on my relationship, the person, also the adhika of the person, the qualification of the person, right? And this is how we should use that. But it's all true. It's not because I'm not showing everything to say I'm completely open. That doesn't mean that it's wrong or that it's not open. It's just a bit open, so to say. No? And also this Vamsidas Babaji thing, he was not a preacher. He didn't have to care. I would guess if Prabhupada wouldn't be a preacher, might not do such extreme things, he was Avadut, but he might have spoken also different things, right? But he saw what is necessary for the situation, how do I have to behave and be the example and all that. Might not have been always that what might have been his like deepest spiritual desire in the situation. We don't know, of course, but Prabhupada was very much exemplary and had to guide his disciples.
Therefore, we classify him as Madhyam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course.
Uttam.
Yeah, because if you would think like that, then he's just, if you would take Prabhupada just for that, what he presented, of course, you might not think that he's the greatest of devotees. You could think, just speaking about Bhagavad Gita and like this Sahajya, so to say, Sahajya criticism, no?
Yeah, some devotees they do that because they think because Prabhupada spoke mainly tattva,
Yeah.
not so much about rasa, so how he can be Uttamadhikari.
Yeah, that's why I say, no? Because they don't understand that he had to do like this. Yeah. So, but it's also interesting. Some devotees just stick then only to tattva, because Prabhupada did, and we never go somewhere else. Also wrong. And some devotees go into rasa prematurely, thinking, now we are the advanced ones, and now we just only speak about that, and the others is not so important. So two extremes. And Prabhupada showed it perfectly. He said, no, it's Krishna everywhere. He saw it in Bhagavad Gita, he saw it in this simple philosophy, and actually for a devotee, a pure devotee, this Bhagavad Gita is the pure nectar, and it's wonderful. And all aspects of Krishna consciousness are beautiful. And there is not this, this is just preliminary knowledge. The more you advance, the more you see Krishna everywhere, especially, of course, also in his words, and you are always ecstatic. So Prabhupada even says that the Sristi Leela is one of the Leelas of Krishna, which is wonderful. The creation story, that's great. It's not just what he does in Vrindavan. Yeah, he sees Krishna everywhere. Yeah.
This Brahmana, for example, who met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he read Bhagavad Gita and he was completely in ecstasy. He wasn't in ecstasy because of the tattva, he was in ecstasy of the rasa.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Prabhupada was criticized when he opened the temple in Delhi, and there was Radha Parthasarthi. And then he said, how Radha Parthasarthi? And Prabhupada said to them, you have no understanding. Wherever Krishna is, there's Radha, even on the chariot. Because Radharani is always with him, in his heart at least. No? But they were, Radha Parthasarthi is like Rasa Basa. It doesn't work. No? But Prabhupada had a way higher understanding. Radha Parthasarthi. Yes. It's very nice. Kripa Sindhu?
Thank you. I wanted to ask you this story with the doctor who heard the chanting of Wasn't that also the case with Prabhupada? Or am I confusing?
With Prabhupada I heard also with Gaur Govinda Maharaj, because I heard yesterday I heard a lecture by our GBC, Krishna Prema Rupa, where he spoke on this, and he said also Gaur Govinda Maharaj, there was something similar, that they took something and they heard the holy name or something was there. But with Prabhupada I never heard it.
I had with Krishna discovery,
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Krishna does. That's what I told before. I was not saying the name. Yeah, but yes, that I meant him. Yes, Krishna does.
Who Krishna does?
The godbrother of Prabhupada, who was around when the Prabhupada was there, always visiting in India. He just named Akinchana Krishna Das. Bhaktisiddhanta's disciple. Yeah.
And I wanted to ask, you spoke in the beginning of duality, and there is this one section in the Bhagavad Gita where Prabhupada says a devotee knows that also in Krishna there is duality, and then he says namely simultaneously identity and individuality.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand this.
That's more or less Beda, Achintya, Beda, Beda. Achintya, that's why we don't understand. But Beda, Beda, that's what it means. No? Individuality and identity. Identity meaning everything is identical to Krishna, everything is Krishna, everything is one, but at the same time also different. And this is a very long, of course, theological discussion which all the sampradayas try to solve. The relationship between matter and spirit. What is Brahman, right? And some come to the monistic understanding, as in Shankara's line, but then you have the other understandings of the four sampradayas. Yeah, Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita, and Dvaita, just Dvaita. Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita, and Advaita is impersonal. Yeah, and these are the nuances of this relationship. And Madhva goes very far with his Dvaita, who really says only two, that was his point. Whereas the others go into more the direction two and different, right? So yeah. And of course the understanding is Shakti Man. Everything, they are two, but they are also one, because these are the energies of God, and they could not exist without God. It's just God and His energies, and they cannot exist without Him. In that sense, they are Him, they are aspects of Him. Everything is God, but at the same time it's also differentiated because it's the unlimited qualities He has. Right? But this identity and individuality refers to that two categories, that God is identical and individual. Right. Okay. Okay, Hare Krishna. Oh, Stas has a question, sorry. You have to be quicker. No, quicker, raise your hand, because if I start already, it's ending the whole thing. Everyone is, and then, oh no, another question. No, okay, last question, yes?
Yesterday I also asked this question, Kripazindu Prabhu, but I also would like to hear your answer. If it's really possible to be fully not attached to the material, that I'm not attached to it. So I also thought, for examples, and we have example of Srila Prabhupada, but there was one point that it's very difficult for me to understand when we read this Bal pastimes of Prabhupada. He ordered to make for him, for
anyways, just speak, quick.
chips. So that's why it's very difficult to me to
Yeah.
understand that he was not attached to the material, but
Yes. So first thing is definitely there's a possibility of a very high platform of renunciation, vairagya. But it's very high, and we have to really be honest and also natural with that. Huh? We cannot think ourselves super renounced when we are not. Then we run into big problems. So that's why we have to be really honest and getting good mentoring and coaching to really see how renounced am I from the material things. And most of us, we're not really renounced. We're not very renounced. And it's okay. It's okay. But with time, through the higher consciousness, comes my renunciation. Naturally, you don't need this and that anymore. Yeah? So we cannot force that over our capacity. That's the first thing, right? Because many devotees made the mistake in the past, super renounced and not, and then all that what they renounced comes back in like a tidal wave. in a tsunami, and they are like, oh. So, and with Srila Prabhupada, I would say he was not a Vairagi. Prabhupada was not a Vairagi. He never taught Vairagya. He said, yeah, we have some individuality inside of Krishna consciousness, and Krishna allows us this and that. And maybe he wanted this because of his health also, who knows. Sometimes Prabhupada took certain things for the health because he knew I need this and that in order to keep the body working. Yeah. But at the same time, Prabhupada was not a Vairagi, and he told the devotees, oh, Krishna consciousness is so nice, we have this rasagula, drop the rasagula. This is so nice. Yeah. Because we are in Kali Yuga, and this is already enough renunciation. And especially inside of Krishna consciousness, there's enjoyment. He wanted to show that also. You don't have to do anything else, just be in Krishna consciousness. Eat these nice chips or rasagula or pizza, and it's fine. But if you get completely addicted to it and it's your purpose of Krishna consciousness, then it's a problem. But it's one aspect of Krishna consciousness, and you can be happy with that. And he did it also always as a service to Krishna. And Krishna is also very happy when his devotees are enjoying in a Krishna conscious way, when you're happy. So I would not overdo that, And Prabhupada said he was not a Vairagi. There was not a point, complete Vairagya. And no, he was a person, very, fulfilled person.
So to be full renounced doesn't mean that I stop to eat, stop to...
When this is your capacity, when this is your spiritual interest, you can do that. Doesn't mean, because of course Prabhupada was very renounced. Just because once he ate this, he was super renounced. He ate actually very little when you look at that. But it's a natural development. And your renunciation goes into different directions, right? Definitely you become more renounced. And you will see that. You don't need that anymore. Okay, Ramananda makes a last comment. Das letzte Wort.
I just thought Prabhupada did many things to teach us. And if Prabhupada would have come and eat only dry rotten rice like Raghunath Das Goswami or something like that, who would have joined the Hare Krishna movement? And sometimes Prabhupada accepted also things or told people, cook this for me, because they know they wanted to cook this for Prabhupada. Like his sister, she wanted, everybody knew that it was not good that she cooked aubergine fried in ghee or something like that. But Prabhupada did it for her. Or this pastime with the 7-Up. It's not that Prabhupada wanted to have 7-Up, but his disciples, they wanted Prabhupada, they want to show it. And Prabhupada said, it's not bad, okay. So I don't, if Prabhupada would have really come and lived by nothing or whatever.
Prabhupada could have done that.
Yeah, but
could have done that.
Who would have joined?
Yeah. And also, as I said, there shouldn't be any superficial renunciation, especially with prasadam, this is like. But you don't have to eat every day the cake and this and that. Doesn't mean that either. But we shouldn't be super critical. Who is eating this, that? Why already so much food? There's also just be natural, normal. In that sense. Okay, thank you so much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.